All right, Grand Rising, Shalom, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Getting ready to get into things. 12 pillars of wisdom. We're going to get into the sixth pillar today. So, thank you guys for being on with us. And thank you for your prayer, your travel. And as I go through quite a few things today, uh, schedule wise, as we go through a lot of things schedule wise, we're thankful and grateful for you. We don't have as much time on Saturday for our live sessions as we normally would. So we're going to kind of jump right into it. We've got two of our platforms going already, about to have a third, and then we're going to get our fourth one up and running. So we can go ahead and get for today. Thank you for being on. Thank you for being attentive. Prayerfully, you're going to get something amazing out of, or outstanding, incredible out of this, because we pray that this will be a blessing to you. That this was something that will be a muse for you, will cause you to think, and especially because of what this series is. It is the 12 Pillars of Wisdom series, and so since it is wisdom that we're speaking of, we should make it a point to be able to speak on these things and see these things from a wise perspective, a domain that has something wise inside of it. So we're thankful and grateful to each and every one of you for this opportunity. One more again, and you taking time out to be with us. You didn't have to decide to listen in today, whether it's your first time or you're just stopping through or whatever. We appreciate whatever it is that you are doing with us. Give me 1 second as I get our last piece of the puzzle as far as everything going on. And I guess you're going to hear a bunch of noise in the background, but it is what it is. We are extremely tired and been traveling so prayerfully. This is going to be something where you'll still be able to get the message in spite of some things, but we are thankful for you all. Hopefully you guys are having a great start to your weekend. Shabbat Shalom to everybody. If I didn't say so already, Shabbat Shalom to you. Forgive me for looking down, just trying to make sure we get the last device ready to go so we can jump into this. Getting our information, so if people want to contact us, you can. So yeah, hold on 1 second. But yeah, so we are. Sorry, hold on. So we're going to. We're going to. So yeah, so we're going to get ready to get into this word for today. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. And like we said, it'll be a shorter word. We're going to talk about. We're going to talk about etymology today. We kind of talked about yesterday. We would talk about etymology and talk about what the Most High wants us to get out of this message today. And this is something that actually is an interesting word for many because we're going to look at etymology in a different manner today. A lot of people have probably never really looked up the definition of etymology. You probably just heard people mention it, whether it's myself or others. So basically, since you've heard myself or others, actually, I'm sorry, hold on a second. We might have to just restart. I might have to go. I wasn't thinking about it. I might have to just go downstairs. Let me see, what time is it? Do we have enough time? Yeah, you know what? If you can, maybe give us about the 3 to 5 minutes, because I don't want. We've been on the road all traveling all night. I don't want to have to wait. Everybody, I think we just go outside. Let me see. I'm trying to think if there's any room in the hallway. There might be some room. But well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. We just pray for the things to be all right. But like I said, you're just gonna have to excuse us. We are tired. So we're gonna get into today. Prayerfully, it won't be too much of a bother for us. We're going to make sure that we get into the word, or actually, if you guys can, just give us about. I'm sorry to do this. Maybe if you give us about 3 minutes or so, we'll still be on, I guess, but we'll just go ahead and move things. I'm going to go ahead and move outside and we'll see if we can work it out down there. So thank you guys for your patience. Thank you guys. Hold on one second.
What is it?
Your feet. On your feet. Get up on your feet. There she goes. I should have just finished it. I should have done it. All right, give me a second, guys. We're about to reestablish everything real quick. And then roll out. So, sorry for me bouncing you guys around real quick. Give me a second. So, for those on Facebook, I guess you just gonna have to deal with this for, I don't know, I don't know where I'm going to go. Let's see how we can work this out. But, once again, thank you, everybody. Sorry. That was a miscalculation on my part. But we'll be starting in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and just move things outside so we continue the conversation. We get to walk past everybody, we get as much noise as possible in the halls. Prayerfully, everybody's all right wherever they are. But, sorry, give me a second. So, hopefully, you guys' day is going well. As you can see, it's not always as easy as what it is, but we're going to try and get this word in. I don't know, I could probably do this word over here without even having to go outside, but I don't know, people. Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
No, that was.
Okay. Good to see a little peek, I guess. Okay.
That's 8.
All righty. All right, guys. Sorry. Oh, wow. I don't even. Let's come in and try and go to the vehicle. The vehicle's not even where I put it. Is it? Is it? Hey, hey. Y'all pray for you, boy. Yeah. The long travel last night and went through all this to get here. It's been a weird start to the horizon. Trying to get stuff prepared and then get ready to go to a funeral. Funerals are never fun in the first place. But if this gonna happen, we're gonna get this word in. Thank you for being with us. We're excited and grateful again. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little frustrated right now, but I'm thankful that we have an opportunity to be in front of you guys again already. So kind of set up a little bit. I don't even know where to put all the items that we have. Might just stay outside. I don't know. We'll see what happens. A lot of noise out here too, though, so probably need to go inside the vehicle. But I'm gonna try. I need some fresh air. It's a little. It's a lot going on. Thankful though, we got a word for the people of Yah, and that's more than likely why all this stuff is happening. Is that we have a word. I apologize. You're gonna have to look at me at a weird angle. It is what it is, but it's gonna be a blessing. We're gonna make it work. Uh, Prayerfully, you're excited about the word. We're gonna get into this. We're gonna talk about etymology. You guys get to hear the sound of outside again, even though it's the sound of the truck outside. So it's whatever. Thankful and grateful to you all for being on again. And again, we just stand up for today. I have not had a chance to put anything on my hands. So we're just gonna have to deal with them looking like I've been boxing flour. It is what it is. Oh wow. Okay. Like I said. Oh wow. Yeah, so interesting day. I don't even know what to do. Today is every time I think one thing is all right, something else is popping up. I don't even know what to do here. Once again, pray for me real quick. Pray with me. I don't know. Everything I'm looking to do, something else that seems to be happening right now. Prayerfully, some things will get in order real quick for us. Yeah, if you don't do it, I don't know who's gonna be able to. So I leave it to you. I leave it to you, y'all, because I don't know. I don't know what to do. Oh. Mm. Okay. So prayerfully, we won't have any more interruptions of any kind. I don't know what else to say or do. It just is what it is. It just is what it is at this point. Amen. Literally had something to be able to drink today, and now this just happened. If you can see, it's squirting everywhere. So that's fun. That was my little energy drink to make sure I had something, my natural energy drink. Crazy how I left one in the vehicle. So let me grab one of the. I need it. This is when the real etymology starts, right? This is when the real etymology starts. Because I got this recording, and everybody's going to be looking at me being a fool for the kingdom. Isn't that what the word says? You got to be willing to be a fool for Yah sometimes. So here I am looking mighty foolish. People probably thinking this is a comedy channel. If this is your first time joining us, and we're supposed to be giving you a word that's going to bless you. Anyways, though, let me check out the time real quick. You know what? We're just going to be obedient. Let me check out the time real quick. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer, and it's in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect this message. To the only wise, let him be all glory, majesty, dominion, and power down forever. Thank you guys for watching all that. I guess traveling, seeing me scramble, seeing that things aren't always as easy as what they might seem. I try to tell people that every day when I try to come on, there's a lot of struggle that goes with it, and people just assume that everything, I guess, goes with ease. But there's a struggle that goes with everything that we do. Whoever's trying to come in, I don't know if somebody said they're invited me to go live together. If you're with us, just simply let me know in the comment section. We'll try to get to you. Because of the angle that I'm at today, comments might not get to. I might not get to the comments as readily as I normally would, just simply because the setup, as you can see, this is a makeshift. Everything is a makeshift. But welcome to everybody. Welcome. We appreciate you. Thanks for being on. Family, we appreciate you. We always appreciate familia, rather. Familia, by the way, is a West African. It is a West African word. I'm sorry. Actually, let me correct myself. It is a Kiswahili word. Familia. So family. We're excited and thankful for you guys being on. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Brother Clem. Hello, Sister Rhonda. Hello, always happy. Is that Alexis? Might be. Struggles bring rewards. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hello to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, those who are on the podcast. If you're on the podcast, you can't hear me, let me know. I'm going to try and come back to you guys as much as I can, but let me know. I'm going to try to project my voice since I'm outside, especially since we're outside next, just making a bunch of noise. But thank you guys so much. Let me go through here on TikTok, say hello to you guys real quick. Didn't forget about you guys either. Like I said, get into the comments. Please forgive me. It's going to be a little more difficult today. As you can see, setup is not ideal or even an idea of what I had in mind, but we're going to make it work. And we're thank you for you guys being patient with us. Like I said, yesterday was a lot, a lot of stuff. And just the spirit, whenever you're dealing with a funeral, you're dealing with a whole bunch of things going on spiritually. Can you guys let me know on the podcast if you can hear me? I'm trying to project my voice because I know you guys are a little further away than what would be the norm. So if I need to increase my volume or if I need to reestablish where you guys are located, just let me know. But we thank you. We appreciate you one more again for rolling with us today, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. As a reminder, we're going to have the Shabbat Shalom podcast on. You have to have the Podbean app to join us live, although you can always listen to any podcast later on once it's posted. Minister Nice will be bringing the word, and I'm not even sure what the word is. We're going to let the Holy Spirit lead, so I'm excited about that word. May or may not be probably something I need to hear in my life on this rising as I'm trying to just simply set up, and it seems like the setup's going to be off. So as a reminder of that, and thank you in advance. Sister Sharice, hello. Sister Tamika, Sister Beverly, Minister Select Sonia, Sister Kimberly, Moto, Minister Nice, Sister Tracy, Big Brother Thomas, Sister Shima. All right, James, how are you doing? Butterfly Effect, Minister Tamara. I think I said so, but Sister Tamika. All righty. Sister Austral, Sister Barbara. Come with me. Yes, Fred loves us very much, and he loves you too. Thank you so much. Come with me. Appreciate it. TikTok.com. It made me skip past a couple of you. Henry, I think, was on there. Brown Eyes, how you doing? If I missed you, please forgive me. Charge it to my heart and charge it to my head and not to my heart. It was not my intent to do so. And once again, we give the Most High, and we're thankful to the Most High for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, and her website at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, but the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. So we're thankful and grateful for the opportunity to be able to served by her and her company. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And you can, in the tincture, she has many tinctures and different things to heal, as well as those consultations. And the tincture of the month is I Am Renewed. Make sure that you take time out to go and cop that. That, in other words, please support. Thank you, though, to everybody for being on. Once again, we're thankful for all of you. Marshawn, Malcolm, Betty, Isabel, and Solomon. Daddy loves you very much. To everybody in our community, if you are Yashrael, if you are grabbed in, if you are Afrik, if you are Hamitic, if you are Shemitic, if you are a human being, if you are somebody who keeps the commandments, if you're somebody that disagrees with everything I'm about to say today, as long as you can be, I'm thankful for you, period. As long as you can make sure that you have respect for this safe space where we all should be able to talk to each other, please feel free to go ahead and make your home here just for a little bit, probably no more than an hour more tops, because we have to get ready once again for the podcast, and which I'm thankful and grateful. It's always amazing the way the Most High works. When you put something together in the schedule, you don't even realize all the stuff that's going to be happening. So just trying to travel, do this stuff, be at a funeral today, all these things. I'm thankful and grateful once again for Minister Nice stepping up today and being able to take us to another level. All right, so we've been talking about the 12 pillars of wisdom. All right, enough is enough. Enough is enough, Spirit. We're in the spirit of excellence now, all right? You have me move here and do this and do that and all this different stuff. Amen. Enough is enough. In the name of Yahweh, we're going to get this message in. I was just about to say, those who are on Facebook, there might be a little issue with it. Might have to have you guys come back in a second because, I don't know. We'll try to see what's going on with Facebook, but Facebook, we might not have you be able to join us, but for so long, just because the device that we use, we normally got to have plugged in somewhere. And as you can see, it's not going to be the case or this rising. But thank you for being on. I want you, if you can, go and check us out. If you're on Facebook, please check us out on YouTube. Please check us out on TikTok today. As I said, it's probably not going to last for so long. The device we use for you guys, it really has a short battery life, and so we've got to make sure that it's plugged in somewhere else before we can probably bring you guys back on. So if you want to make sure you catch the whole thing, just go to another platform. Again, TikTok, we're on. Once again, look on YouTube. Hashtag find Kofi on either one. If you haven't been on TikTok before, go on TikTok. If you see, once you can put in hashtag find Kofi, look for Kofi_43. That's the name of the channel. When you look up that channel, click on there, and when you'll see my picture or whatever, throbbing, and just click on it. Once you see it pulsating, just click on it, and it'll take you directly to our live session. So there you go. So I apologize, but I do want to make sure you guys are aware that what we're talking about today is etymology. What are we talking about today? Etymology. And I'm sorry it took so long, yo. If it hadn't taken so long, we could have had you guys on a little longer on Facebook. But we're talking about etymology. Etymology. Right? So we have 12 pillars of wisdom. Remember, wisdom is a domain in which wise things are put inside of. Wisdom is a domain in which wise things are going to be put inside of. I'm trying my best to get to the comments, but because of the situation, the setup today, I'm not really going to be able to get to them, but so much. All right. So thank you, moderators, or anybody that might be able to help to answer some questions that normally we'd be able to answer, that might be repetitive that you've heard me speak on today. But today I'm proud enough to get to the comments as readily as I would. But once again, etymology, right? But the 12 pillars of wisdom. Remember, wisdom is a domain in which wise things are put in front of you. You can talk about a kingdom, you have to have a king's domain, right? A domain is fit for a king. If you want to talk about wisdom, you have to have a domain fit for that which is wise. And there are 12 pillars that are going to hold up the covering or the roof, and also are going to be able to look in the same fashion and connect to the foundation of what we would call wisdom or wisdom. In order to hold wisdom, or something that is wise, we must have a domain set up specifically designed to ensure that we'll be able to get that which is wise. So if we're going to talk about wisdom, a wise domain, 12 pillars we're going through. Today is going to be the 6th pillar. Here are the first 5. The first pillar is that you're things systematically so that they are systemic. In other words, you have to build something on purpose that will continue to move on and on no matter what. Second pillar of wisdom was knowledge. You must become intimate with that which you have built, right? And it must produce fruit. If you're not intimate with this, then it's not going to be wise. And if it doesn't produce fruit, then it's not success, because every success or every successful person is going to have successors, right? And the third thing we talked about was being a game changer. Game changers are people that learn the game, learn the rules, become great because of talent only, but also are so proficient in the game and the rules, and then start to find things that actually people look at as loopholes or things that they didn't think somebody would be able to take to the next level, and they actually have to refine the game just because of their presence. We call it changing the rules of the game, right? Then the fourth pillar is redemption. You must be redeemed. Now, redeemed, remember, deem actually just means to consider. So when he redeemed us, he reconsidered us, right? When he redeemed us, he reconsidered us. When he did what? When he redeemed us, he reconsidered us. So if I'm reconsidered, if I am redeemed, well, then that gets me to a place of where we are going to be consistent in something, to where we're going to be different, where we're going to reconsider who we are and what we do and where we get our information from, because we were considered one way, and we used to consider things through a different prism, but now it causes us to redeem it, to consider it different. And the question we kept asking when we went over that was, how do you deem it? How are you able to deem things that are cultural, et cetera, right? And then yesterday, having a mental block. I did this earlier this rising when I was practicing. And then yesterday, what did we talk about? Vision, purpose, value, VPV. Vision, purpose, and value. I have to be able to see something afar off with vision, and I have to have purpose. That means daily manifestation. So my vision is going to cause my purpose to change. My vision, what I see, where I'm headed, what I'm supposed to do, is going to cause me to be in purpose every day, to have a different grind and a different mentality and a different thought process. That's going to cause me to value what I'm doing in a different manner. Because although others might not value it, I value it so much that I can't afford not to get up. I can't afford not to be on. I can't afford to miss what it is that I'm called to do. I can't afford to let anything get in my way. I can't afford it. Right. And matter of fact, when I value somebody else's vision, I'll do the same. Right. But that's why you have to write out your vision and make it plain upon the tablets, that those that read it and those that have an ear to hear will what? Those that read it will run with it. But you got to have it written out where they can see what you can see. Now that they can see it, you don't even have to necessarily have it planned out, because they'll take it and run with it. Oh, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that. No problem, I got you, right? So then that brings us to today, to where we're going to talk about etymology. Right, that's where we're coming today to speak on etymology. And etymology is interesting if we get into it, because etymology is a lot different than what we think. Etymology usually, and I'll be honest, I don't really teach deep into etymology, even though we have classes on things that's concerning etymology, and we have somebody making as much noise as possible. But I mean, people getting in their vehicles, so be it, right? But it's just going to be one of those risings. However, in etymology is a little different than what we might think it is when we look up what the word is. When we do the etymology of etymology, when we do the study of the word etymology, you will discover something that's very amazing. Very incredible, rather. And it will become amazing, so that you won't be too amazed if you know the etymology of the word amazed. Maze literally means, maze is talking about the way that you guide or going through something. Amazed means that you're not able to guide yourself. So when you're amazed, you're saying something hits you so hard that you can't really be able to guide yourself, right? So if you can truly be amazed if you're stunned to where something hits you and you can't even get your bearings, right? But you want to go through a maze. You want to have direction, right? Nevertheless, etymology actually is the study, is the logic. So it comes from the logia of etym, right? Of etym, or etymia, etymio, or etymos, that's what it is. Etymos. So you have logia, etymos. Logia, Logia, which is where we get logic from, right? Logic means the study of. All right. So when somebody says it's logical, what they're saying is it's the study of. So you know how they're saying women aren't logical. That's not true. What they're trying to say women can't think. That doesn't equate, right? A woman is logical because she studies. Now her logic is based off of something, though, right? See how we have to be careful that we don't come from somebody else's perspective, or somebody else is trying to do with the language to try and make sure that their culture of things that are misandry are going to come forth, right? Or I'm sorry, not misandry, rather, but are misogynistic, that are misogyny. We have to be careful that misogyny doesn't step forward. We have to be careful about those things, right? So when you look at the word logic, it doesn't mean the way you think. Logic means to study something. It's the study of. But here's the deal with etymology, right? There are two words that you can break down in the Greek to be able to get a better comprehension of this. There's eteos, which is et. We would equate it to as closely as we can to eteos phonetically. Eteos. All right, eteos. Eteos. And eteos, legit, as is talking about truth, right? Eteos means truth, but it's not eteologia or eteology. Eteology is not eteos logia, right? It's not eteologia. It's not the logic of truth, or it's not the study of truth. Etymology goes deeper. See, etymology is etymos. So eteos, eteos, is basically just saying that's the truth. If somebody were to say back in the day, if you knew how to speak Greek, if you knew how to speak Latin, if you knew how to speak ancient, well, I won't say ancient, but old French, right? You would say eteos, and eteos would be talking about truth, So, hey, eteos, I'm just telling the truth. But this is etymos, which is et, or at least we spell it etymos. Etymos, 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 right? Interesting. It's two different words. You have eteos, which is saying this is the truth, but we're not talking about the study of truth. We're talking about etymos, which is the study of something almost the same, but just enough different that we have to have a different mentality. Now, what are we talking about? Etymos. Etymos is saying that it's not just truth, but it also is real, or it's also what it actually is, right? So eteos, which is in the Greek, once again, you're talking about yeah, eteos, right? So if somebody in the Greek says eteos, right? If somebody in the Greek is going to say eteos, what you're talking about is truth. But we're not just talking about truth. We're talking about etymos, etymos, etymology, or etymologia, right? The study of what it actually is, or what it really is, concerning the truth. Did you catch that? So a lot of people think that when you're doing etymology, you want to get the true meaning of a word, not recognizing that when you're studying etymology, you're actually studying what the truth is, and what the truth really means concerning the logic, or concerning the study of it. Once we study what the culture is, then we can actually know what the word really means. So, you see how all these things we've been talking about, you see how all these things we've been talking about for a while now, they begin to be different. And once again, I apologize. I'm gonna try my best. If there's something you really, really, really want me to get into the comment section, especially if you're on TikTok, you can put it in the Q&A box. I will try my best to get to the comments, just because of the angle and stuff that we're at today, and the setup that we had to go through today to change up a little bit. Once again, I'm not in a position where I can, really read the stuff in the way I normally would. Some of you can see I'm looking up for some, I'm looking here, I'm looking here. It's not as simple as it is, but I will try my best to break this down. But I want to make sure, at least before we lose Facebook, because we might lose Facebook soon, I want to make sure, and can you guys hear me on the podcast? Podcast sounds great. Okay, thanks, babe. So I just wanted to make sure that you comprehend, whether you're on YouTube, the podcast, Facebook, TikTok. We appreciate you all for being on with us. I want to make sure that we comprehend the actual etymology. Etymology is not saying this is what a word means only. Etymology is not saying this is truly what the word means. Etymology is not saying this is the study of truth concerning this word. Etymology does not mean this is the study of truth, right? Etymology means that this is the study of what this word actually means within the confines of its cultural context, right? So when you're studying the etymology of a word, you have to comprehend that you have to know where the word comes from. See, so when you're studying the actual etymology of a word, you have to comprehend that what you're studying is where the word actually comes from, from within context, right? So when you're studying what a word actually context from which word comes from, and a lot of us are prepared for that, right? So where the word actually comes from. We got to start studying where the word actually comes from, and that's the problem. So you have people that are arguing, words back and forth now, usually in political ways, because we know that, I'm sorry, about to say capitalism is simply defined as the system in which politics and economics are used to control trade and industry. Trade and industry is wielded by private corporations, and the private corporations are what controls the state, right? So if you're in a position to where you don't know the etymology or the culture, or what, if you look up in Black's Law Dictionary, would be proper interpretation, because proper interpretation speaks to how something is interpreted, right? And to interpret something properly, according to Black's Law Dictionary, you have to know who wrote it, why they wrote it, when they wrote it, where they wrote it, the language they wrote it in, what each word actually meant, and then you can have proper interpretation of a doctrine, and then that doctrine you lift up. Now you can start talking about law correctly. But many people can't even talk about law because we can express things through the proper prism when it comes to etymology, or etymologia, or the study of what a word actually means, because now we know where that word actually comes from. And those that are on Facebook, thanks for being on. I'm sorry, it's going to have to be short and sweet. There's more of me walking around today on there probably than there is of you getting the word. But it is what it is this rising. Thank you for being on. We appreciate you so much. We really do. And thanks for tuning in. Once again, please feel free to go over to TikTok if you're on with us live, or if you see this a little later and you want to join us. We'll be on. We're only on shorter. We're usually on a shorter amount of times on Shabbat, anyways, so we can get ready for our podcast. Please join us as Minister Nice is ready to give us a word. Amen. So we're talking about etymology. When we hear etymology, etymology is something that is crucial because it is not just the study of a word. It is not just the study of truth, but it is the study. It is the study. It is the logic or the study of. That's what logic or logia is, right? So even when you hear something like homologia, right? Homologia means same in logic. So homologia in the Greek is how they would actually say confession. So they would say confession is to study the same. And in their culture, what they were saying is we're just simply going to study or repeat what somebody has said or what somebody has already done. If somebody already said it or somebody already did it, we're just simply going to look at the logic of what they said or what they did. So confession is really more so those of you who like to do Greek New Testament type stuff and like to be in the Nicolaitans doctrine, you should actually not think of confession as a statement. Confession is not a statement. Confession, even con, is one to become one with, right? At the beginning of it. Nevertheless, confession is not a statement, but what? It is actually homologia. That's what it's based off of, that thought process. And homologia was to tell you the best they could do to interpret the Hebrew meaning. So what they're really telling you is logia. It is the study of or the logic of homo, the same thing that somebody's already said or somebody's already done. A confession is just to look at when somebody has said or has already done. If you have confessed it, you are simply talking about the logic or repeating the same logic of what you have said or what you have already done. Y'all see why we have to know proper etymology, right? Can you see that now? That proper etymology takes us to a different place. And a lot of us are not able to have conversation with proper etymology. And a lot of us, therefore, are fighting a losing battle. A lot of us are fighting a losing battle trying to fight with, with people who are not even trying their hardest to ensure that they actually have the proper culture behind it, because they are trying their best to have a conversation with you without knowing the culture of that which they speak. If you don't know the culture of something, you cannot tell me the etymology. Right? So here's an example of it. Here's an example of it. Here's an example of it. Right? Here's an example of it. So language is so colorful. The art of spelling is very powerful. That too. Yeah, and you're probably even talking about casting spells, things like that, right? So here's an example of it. Like I said, I apologize. Language and Bible study 11. Amen. Yeah. And how you doing, Jess Banks? I'm sorry, everybody. Like I said, I'm be limited today on how much I'm getting to the comments, just simply because of as you can see, I'm not in a normal environment, and normalcy doesn't necessarily mean much all the time. But today, oh shoot, hold up. Oh, okay, I thought this thing was about to pop up on me again. I was about to freak out. Sorry, y'all. But yeah, but when you're in a normal, when you're in an but we're making this thing work. So if I can't get to your stuff right away, I'm gonna try my best. I promise you, I'm gonna try my best. But I can't see the way I normally see today. Okay, I can't see the way I normally see it. Thank you for the love. We appreciate you. Thank you for the likes, for the shares, all that great stuff. All right. So check this out. Here we go. So etymology. You can, if you don't know the culture that something comes from, you're gonna miss it every time. So for example, here's this term. Now, this isn't the word that the Greeks use, but we're going to use the term that we use today. You will hear people say something like homosexual, right? You will hear somebody say something like homosexual, and they will say in the Bible that that word homosexual didn't exist, and that right at the time. And if you look at what it actually said in Hebrew, it actually was talking about a male of a certain age being with a male of a younger age. So it wasn't talking about homosexuality; it was talking about pedophilia. And people will argue this. This has been a consistent and a constant argument I have heard and that I have seen on social media by some of the brightest minds who are trying their hardest to get to fight what they feel for is equality, which is always a dangerous fight because no two people are equal to each other anyways. But they are doing their hardest. They think they're doing a great work. They are doing something that is wise in their own eyes. They're not doing this because they hate people. They're not doing this because they're mad at people. They're not doing this because they're frustrated with people. They're doing this. They really believe in their own eyes. They're going to make a positive change. And look, even if we don't agree with the lifestyle choice, it doesn't mean that we hate the people. We still show you love. I'm not going to see you out there starving in the street and being like, oh, well, you sleep with your same sex, so we're not going to do anything with you. But people are going to take that and try to do what? Go outside of etymology. They believe, amen, yeah, when someone wants your culture to fit their narrative, it doesn't work, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to bring you an ideal, IDEAL. So that's when somebody, look up the word ideal, it means that when somebody is creating something to support their narrative, an ideal is not the same as an idea. IDEA is based off of some fact. IDEAL is something you're making up to support your narrative. And so what they will do is they'll say, man, you know what? Homosexuality. We're talking about 12 pillars of wisdom. This is sixth pillar of wisdom, etymology, the study of what it actually is or what it truly means within its cultural context. I'm sorry, you said you help people in all walks of life and lifestyles. All right. Oh, thank you, babe. Appreciate it. So homologia, or I'm sorry, they won't say not homologia. I'm sorry, but they'll say homo, right? Homosexual, right? Now, sex culturally means marriage. That's why you talk about sexes or male and female. That's a breakdown of a sex. But sex are two sexes, male and female, becoming one. And becoming one is what we call marriage. To marry somebody is to know somebody. That's our second pillar, right? But what they will do is they will do this thing, and they don't even know that somebody had to be creative in that or had a purpose. They had an actual, and I'm gonna give credit here. The people who put this Greek word in here that means homosexual. For us nowadays, we translate to homosexual. There was a word that was put in there on purpose because they were trying their hardest to deal with the issue that they had. Now, what is that? In the Greek culture, and in the Roman culture, it was extremely normal. Matter of fact, not only was it normal, but people like Plato said that it was something that was the only way to go, because people like Plato were pedophiles. But this was normal in Greek society. We would call that nowadays, we would call that a gender or gender roles, right? You see how etymology comes into play. See, etymology is not just the study of the word, but it's the study of everything surrounding the word so that you can see where the word came out of and what the culture was. See, when they said gender back then, jancha, or when they said gender back then, genealogy, genre, right? All these things that we say, I like to listen to this genre of music. Genre means style. It means style. So when they talked about the genre or the jancha or the gender or the genealogy or the gene of a male, they were saying that in our culture, the style of male is that older males are supposed to be with younger males. That's why you call it platonic relationships. You call it a platonic relationship because the platonic relationship is based off of what? The platonic relationship is based off of the fact that in their culture, they said that it was actually Plato. Plato said, he taught that the worst relationship to have was between an adult male and adult female and have them have sex, right? That's what he taught, was that the worst relationship was marriage. In our culture, the greatest relationship is marriage, right? Not just physically, but even spiritually with the Most High. The greatest thing that could ever happen to us in our culture is marriage, is sex, is male and female coming together. That's the style of male and female in our culture. In their culture, he taught that it is the worst thing to do. That's why I never tell anybody you're in a platonic relationship. If you've been doing that, I know somebody taught you, but you got to make sure that you get out of that. Right? You got to get out of that. You're not in any platonic relationships anymore because you're not speaking that over yourself or over your children. Right? You know, so that's that. By the way, what does that lead to? By the way, that leads to stuff like Freud, where you said I have a Freudian slip. Freud was somebody who was what? That was his gender that he took on. He took on that culture, that style. So Freud is somebody who actually was not only homosexual, but he was a pedophile. Freud literally taught in schools, and they still teach Freudian concepts today, by the way. He taught in school. This is what Freud taught. Freud taught that it was all right. Hear what I'm saying, y'all. This is how powerful and how crazy it is in your life. And you got to be careful. You got to understand etymology, the study of one word, the study of something can literally break something that it is. You got to know the culture of the word. Freud used to literally teach. This is where you get the word anal from, or anal retentive, because he was teaching that little children, when they came out, why is it that children are frustrated, are flustered, are crying all the time? Why is it that they get to have terrible twos and things of that nature? You know what Freud taught? You know what Freud actually taught? Freud actually taught that the reason why is because they want to have sex with their own mothers, but they're too young to be able to have it. And not only do they want to have sex, they don't want vaginal sex. That's where they came out of. So they're afraid of it because Freud was somebody who didn't like the vagina. So what Freud taught, just like the people of the Greeks taught, was that the worst relationship you could have is to be married, especially to your own mother. Now that's really sick, even though it's sick for you to want to have sex with your mother. But he says to have anal sex is a natural thing that a child would want to have. Now, why would a pedophile say that anal sex is a natural thing? Why would a pedophile teach that? Because that's what he wants to do. So if you have a Freudian slip, what you're really referring to is that you're having a slip to where you want to have this childlike homosexual or male homosexual type of relationship. And so when you speak about it, you're actually speaking. So people now just say, oh, see, they tried to make fun of you. You had a Freudian slip. You said something gay. No. That's what it actually means, is that your nature is to want to have anal sex. But if you don't know that comes from platonic relationships, and now he's just the next level, and now what else are they teaching now about the next level? Well, hell, heck, LGBTQIAPB. If you know what I'm saying on those letters, what are we saying? I'm not gonna get canceled today, but just do some research. LGBTQIAP. And then they take it to B. But LGBTQIAP. Look up what that P is. LGBTQIAP. And look at some court cases that will support that what I'm saying is something that's a lot closer than what you might think. Etymology is not just the study of a word, it's a study of a context, it's a study of what's going on. See, now you know when it says Black Lives Matter and you start seeing, well, Black Lives Matter don't seem to talk about black people, but it's showing up talk about everybody else. Why? Because they're not, it's not even anything against you personally. Everybody in their culture, in Greek culture, if you're not considered to be of the right family, you consider to be somebody that can be enslaved. Right? It don't it's not personal. They don't consider white trash to be on their level. Don't take it personal. They put you on the bottom on purpose because they needed a consistent place of slaves. But reality is white people, there's a lot of white people that are white trash in their eyes. They just tell certain white people, hey, you're better than black people, so that they'll fight the fight for them. Right? Yeah, they pushing P. If you know what we're talking about, right? But getting back to it, so the etymology. So somebody will say, well, the Bible says homosexuality, but homosexuality actually wasn't something that was written in originally. It actually said this or that. Well, first of all, in our culture, you can't get married unless you're already qualified to be a husband or you're already qualified to be a wife. If you're not pre-qualified to be a husband, not a man. See, marriage is not between, in our culture, it's not between child and child, or adult and child, or female and female, or male and male, or male and female, right? Or male and wife. Or female and husband. Is between husband and wife. So if you don't comprehend the culture of it, you already messed up etymology on what we're talking about as far as sex. Because sex is marriage and marriage is sex. If you don't know what it is within our culture, you already lost the game. And how you're going to support and defend your position if somebody's trying to tell you your position is wrong, but you don't even know that simple thing. Next thing up, when somebody says, well, they're talking about homosexuality. Well, yeah, homosexuality wasn't originally in there. You know why? Because that wasn't really our problem. And that's something that's going to mess somebody up. But see, in your etymology, you forgot that your etymology has to deal with the culture. If you go to Africa today, you will not see anybody fighting for legislation for homosexuality. In any of the countries, you're starting to see a little bit of it come up in South Africa because the people that are fighting for it don't look like you. Right? And there's still a lot of them left over from apartheid when they thought that they had the right to be able to run your country. Right? But you don't see a problem with that because it's not our problem. It's not our culture. I'm not saying there's never been an African person that's done anything like that, but I'm saying that's something that's shunned. And anybody that's starting to get it actually usually argues because they've seen it in other places and tries to bring it back home.
So you're not going to see a lot of law or a lot of stuff. Matter of fact, you have a lot of European countries that are saying we won't support you or give you money unless you start supporting people being homosexual. And they say, well, no offense, if people want to be homosexual, we'll love them and take care of them. But in our culture, that's not a problem for us. They'll say, well, it's not a problem at all. And they'll say, well, yeah, it's not a problem at all because we don't, it's not part of our culture. We don't hate anybody. It's just not part of who we are. It's not how we walk. Once again, doesn't mean that if somebody's going through that we don't love them. But it's not our but it's not our problem to come up with legislation for something that doesn't address us. But there are certain countries that say we won't, allow you to, I don't know, like stop paying reparations to us for us giving you up as territories that we colonized, unless you put in the LGBTQIAPP, whatever, whatever other letters are attached. It's hard to keep up, right? But they say unless you put that in there, we're not really going to come in there. Now, watch this though. Here's where your culture comes in. This is where you got to know proper etymology, right? Be ready for this. If you're looking at it, as far as the etymology is concerned, peep game. When we're speaking on this, you have to also remember and realize and recognize that when it comes to our people, or when it comes to this word, let's just deal with the word. Amen, Holy Spirit. I'm be obedient. When it comes to the Holy Spirit's pushing this in a certain direction. When it comes to this word that they use for homosexuality, that word didn't exist, but they put it in. You know why they put it in? Once again, it's culture. In their culture, those Greco-Roman people of that time were having an issue because, once again, there were men that were only focused on little boys. And so they had men growing up with trauma because of what happened to them as little boys. And so these little boys who finally, after generations, got tired of being raped by, and I'm not going to use that word anymore. I know on social media that can get us in trouble, but got tired of having this pain inflicted on them over and over again by these older men and having this chain and this cycle, and people not even being interested in women as much as they needed to be, to where now you've got women that are looking at other women. Things like, by the way, high heel shoes. I'm not saying sisters trading on your high heel shoes, but sisters, you got to know high heel shoes were not actually invented for you. A lot of ladies don't know that. High heel shoes were not even invented for you. Did you know that? High heel shoes were invented for men because men were into homosexuality and they were also into bestiality. And they used to worship a lot of deists and deities and gods and et cetera, that were supposed to be half man and half something else. So if they were into half men and half goats, or half men, no, is it half goat? Yeah, half men, half goats. Right, like Baphomet, but reverse Baphomet. Take the goat part and put it on the bottom, and take the human part and put it on the top. Right, so they had a reverse Baphomet before Baphomet came into existence. At least the way we see Baphomet now, right? They used to be into that goat. Look at for those of you who watched or have children that watched, you were young enough to remember the Chronicles of Narnia, the first one, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I think that's the name of it, right? And you remember there was the dude that was half goat and he was half man, right? Had the goat horns and everything, had a little bit of fur going on and all that, had a hairy chest and everything, right? They were trying to show you he was half man and half goat. That was something that Greek men were actually attracted to, but there was no real thing as a half man, half goat. So what did they do? They actually came up with these shoes that were designed. I'm sorry, some of y'all sisters ain't gonna be able to unsee this after I say this, but they came up with these shoes that were designed legit to where they would put it in and it would put the man's heels like this, and his calf would therefore have to do something different, and his thigh would have to do something different, and his walk would be a little different. Just like if you look at the way the back of a goat when they walk, right, you see that it looks like the back of what happens when you put on some high heel shoes, and that made the man more attractive, right? A fawn. Okay, thanks, babe. A fawn, a half man, half goat. So they went. And by the way, fawn, I think, is even before they started calling that, fawn was actually a natural way of calling the baby. I can't remember which type of lifestyle, livestock rather. But a fawn was like naturally that, but they began to call a fawn a little baby. Check out the name that my wife just showed us, right? Fawn, etymology. They called him a fawn because fawns were little baby livestock. So now you got this fawn, this little baby boy that they put in high heels. He's walking a little funny, And in order to get his balance, he has to start doing weird things, doesn't he? With his hands. Right? And so when they put all that stuff together, now he looks more like a goat, half man, half goat. On the lower end, we did something to him that makes us more attractive to where now we want to go after him. And so they had so much issue. This became so much in their society where they had to literally change the word in the Bible, right? That said, hey, don't get married to anybody that's outside of marriage. And they had to change it specifically to say, stop having older men mess with younger men. That's why they actually changed the word in the Greek, because they said, we need to protect these boys. These boys are getting messed up out here. That's etymology. With that simple etymology, you will see so many different things that are going on with society today. See why it's a pillar? You know, think about it. Yeah, they're pointed, those toes pointed like hooves. Matter of fact, if you see the toes, a lot of times they want the toes to be bunched up, don't they? Because the hoof is bunched up. So you'll put yourself in a high heel shoe, but it's designed to get your toes to be pointed. And you will do whatever you can, ladies, to fit into something that you're not even called to be in. It's not even designed for you. Did you catch that? You'll put all this effort into fit in that shoe into something. You can't even stand the shoe so much that you'll wear it from the car to the church. As soon as service starts and you sit down, you're going to take the shoe off. Then once the service is over, you'll still sit there with the shoe off and talk to people as long as you ain't got to walk so far. And then you took the shoe on just to be able to go from there to the car. The reason is because the shoe was never designed for you. Is it not interesting that the people still to this day that make your fashion choices, especially make your shoe fashion choices for you, are not women, but they are men? Salah. Right? What we speaking on right now? Etymology. Remember, etymology, it is the logia, it is the logic, it is the study of what? The etym or etymos. The etymos is the truth or what the truth really is or what the truth actually is based off of the cultural context. People still wearing Versace today, male or female. Why are you still wearing Versace? Versace, gay man. People wearing Gucci. What is Gucci? People say Calvin Klein ain't whatever. Well, listen to Calvin Klein speak. If he ain't, he's definitely not, or he's definitely got some feminist stuff going on. I'm not trying to say he is. I don't know if he is or isn't. I'm just trying to tell you that you're not going to get into the fashion industry and not have something that's hyper masculine. And you're not going, right? My wife said this yesterday, that one of the greatest forms of white privilege is going on. She said this last night. She probably doesn't even think I was listening to her, but I was really focused on the road. But I was listening, babe. She said last night that one of the greatest things of white privilege is to basically be able to tell you that you have to respect a trans woman the same as you, while at the same time that man who's really a woman is going to be respected as a man, and he's going to own everything as a man, but he's going to tell you, I'm going to take your womanhood from you too. Right? Now that's a trick for you. Etymology, though, if you don't know this, you miss that whole thing. That if you don't know this, you miss that whole thing. So when somebody tries to tell you about something that's Freudian, I know now I got to stay away from that. Why? Because I got to stay away from something that in the Greeks did to where they were platonic. And that means I got to stay away from this whole mindset that causes little boys to be hurt to where they don't even want to be themselves. And I got to stop having my children do stuff. Because if we're talking about, see how etymology, I'm not even going away from one concept. If you notice, I thought we were going to all these different words today, but the Holy Spirit's trying to show you with one concept, how you can get that etymology correct. It's going to change some things. Watch this, because now, if all that's going on, do I really want my boys to pledge Greek? I just messed somebody up. But with all that going on, do I really want my son to pledge Greek? Do I really want that? Does he really need that? Because there's some questionable things that happen. Look up, I don't know if you'll be able to find the video I'm thinking about, because they take stuff down all the time. But if you get a chance, try to look up Anthony Davis, fraternity video. You might come across something that's a little odd. Now he 6'10" guy, strong, fast, always seem to be something weird going on, whatever. And then look at what's going on to where he's going through stuff. I don't know if he's going across the burning sands or anything yet, but he's going through some things. And he's buck naked, hands tied behind his back, on the ground with a bunch of men of all ages all around him while he's on the ground buck naked. I mean, something don't seem to be right about it. I'm not trying to say everybody who's Greek, by the way, as far as if you pledge. I'm not trying to say that you automatically in that light, but I'm saying there's some spirits attached. If I look at it, and I'm just saying, we just say this stuff randomly, or somebody tells us we're supposed to just live it, and so but we don't think about etymology, the logic behind it, the study of what it actually means, what it actually came out of, not just it as far as etymos, the truth concerning the word, but the etymos, what it actually. I'm sorry, not the eteos, which is the truth concerning the word, but the etymos, which is talking about the surrounding, what it came out of, what it actually is. Let's get a little deeper. You said you seen it work in the CSU, okay? So I need you to comprehend. Like you're pledging into a fraternity, you're pledging into you're pledging a sorority, a fraternity, whatever. What you're doing is you're pledging a culture. Your pledge allegiance to a flag of whatever culture that letter. All those letters have a meaning, whatever character that is, and to the republic for which that stands. You're supposed to be one nation under whatever that letter is and that deity is, right? That's why you say some of the prayers and sing some of the songs and make some of the movements with your arms that you do, because you're talking about a deity, a god, a deist, hoping that you yourself can possibly become a god, or at least be accepted on that Masonic chain that's there. That's why we have to be careful, because some people, when they pledge, they don't even know you pledging boule. If you even know what that is, right? Now, somebody would just hear me say, well, oh, they pledge Greek. But I know, and I see that etymology when I hear that word, right? Phrase, or that sentence. Phrase, by the way, just means sentence in French, right? Phrase. So when I see that phrase, going on, I pledge Greek, I go, oh, there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. Right? That person has to do some stuff as far as Masonic principles. That person's not even thinking about it. Right? They're only thinking because they're only thinking the third level, to the third degree. They don't think 33rd degree. They don't teach you to have vision. Dude, that's why they say we give read into the third degree, this and that, third degree, even third degree burn, second degree burn, first degree burn. They don't go to 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. But there's other degrees. But all they talk about is first, second, and third. If you notice that becomes because it comes from a culture and etymology. See, we think etymology is just a word. Thank you for the love, by the way. Thank you for the love, the likes, the shares, all that great stuff. We appreciate it. Once again, I can't see the way I normally would because I'm all over the place and set up this rising. But thank you for being on, and we really appreciate you. Sorry for not getting to the comments the way I normally would, but I appreciate them. And hopefully I'll be able, if you really, really want to go in depth in it, we spend time probably on Monday. We'll do some Q&A. So if you're with us on Monday on the Rising, we'll make sure we do Q&A. We try in the midst of these series to at least have some type of Q&A from time to time to make sure we can break some stuff down if you had questions. Okay, so if I didn't get to them today, just save them. Just save it one more day for me, or 2 more days, whichever, however you want to look at it. Right. So we got to get to the etymology. The etymology is not just the study of a word. The etymology is the study of the context in which the word comes out of. It's the interpretation. It's the interpretation. It's not just what you want to hear. It's the interpretation. It's not. It's the interpretation. Y'all hear what I'm saying? It's the interpretation. It's not just what you want to hear. This, that, or whatever. It's not just, oh, this is what it truly means. No, it's talking about this is what it means, and here's the context that comes behind it. You can't talk about boule if you don't comprehend what it is. See, all the stuff we talked about, you can't talk about boule if you don't understand Freud. Hello, somebody. You can't talk about boule if you don't comprehend the Masonic temple. You can't talk about pledging Greek if you don't comprehend what you're pledging into. You're pledging into a culture. When somebody says, I'm proud to be an American, you don't even know which American you're talking about. Thank you. I think that's is it Chavez or Chirac or no, Chava. Oh, a new person. I'm sorry. Thank you. This is Chava 7. I'm not thinking. Right? You don't even know what you're pledging into. You don't know what you're pledging into. I pledge allegiance to a flag. The word flag is a standard. That's why when I say it's not my standard, people legit get upset with me when I tell them that is not our standard. You know why? Because deep down they know something I'm saying is talking about. I'm not worried about your flag. I'm not worried about your standard. Something deep down in them already knows he's dealing with my standard. He's dealing with my culture. He's dealing with my belief. He's dealing with what I pledged to. Yeah, what you pledged to is not concerning me. I'm not contractually obligated to be part of your standard. I don't speak well of your standard. I'm not trying to live underneath your standard. I'm not pledging to it. I pledge allegiance to the flag. I don't pledge allegiance to that standard. Amen, babe. We don't subscribe to those to your issues. So your issues are not my issues. Why won't you march for this? Your issues are not my issues. Well, we need to make sure that the black man and the black woman are put in their proper place. Yeah, that's right. That's why your issue is trying to get white people to give you something. My issue is, when are we going to get something for ourselves? Right? Like your issue aren't my issues when I have proper etymology. The etymology causes me to be in a position to where I'm not just focused on a word, but I'm trying to figure out where that word came from. That word is damaging to my people. That word is not uplifting to my people. That word has caused my people frustration. That word has caused my people to think, like we talked about last couple of days, that word has caused my people to believe that there's nothing for them here on earth. They got to wait till they die to go to heaven, even though to get something, even though the kingdom of heaven is supposed to be in them, which means that the kingdom's in me. That means that I am the ATM. Why am I waiting to hit the jackpot or hit the lottery because I get to go to heaven? That's what they want you to believe. You gambled really well on earth. And since you gambled really well, you go ahead, we can say you hit the jackpot and you get the reward. Right? You did really well at the table, so you can go ahead and take this reward with you. Thank you so much for playing the game. That's what they wanted. That's how they wanted to rock this with us. You played the game really well. Thank you so much. That's how they want you to think about this. No. Right? Our Father who art in heaven, etymology. Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom what? Come, and thy will be done on earth the same way it is in heaven. And because you don't have proper etymology, you've been thinking that you're supposed to let his will be done in heaven only and have to deal with hell on earth. But that's not what my word declares at all. I don't accept that because that's not my standard. That's not the etymology that I roll with. It's not the etymology that the Most High rolls with it. How dare I say I serve the Most High and that I don't even roll with the Most High? Etymology. Salah. Etymology. Right? If heaven is in me, then I could even read it like this. I'm gonna point to myself. Those who are on the podcast, I'm sorry if you can't see me, but I want you to think about the kingdom in you when I'm saying this, right? Our Father, our source, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your name be whole and holy and lifted up and set apart. Thy kingdom come from where? Inside. And thy will be done. Where? Inside what? On earth. This skin, this flesh is earth, the same way it is done in heaven. Whatever's heaven is on the inside, let it be manifest on the outside. Now give me this day that I've got that in order. Give me this day what I need today. I'm not waiting till I die, because while I'm inside this earth, I have heaven inside. And so I'm waiting to manifest some things. Therefore, from the inside, the power, right? Now unto him who's able to do exceedingly, what's that? Ephesians 3, starting at verse 21. Now unto him who's able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you could ever ask or think, according to the power that's placed within you. It's already in there, right? Even if you don't think you can. So I'm praying to the Most High, who, as long as I'm righteous and right legal standing, is able to be in the temple of the Most High, which the Bible declares is my body. And I'm waiting for him now, because I'm in him and he's in me. That's what the word says. Abide in me and I in you. So since you're in me and I'm in you, now when I start calling things, my will and your will resonate together. We have a symbiotic relationship. We're interdependent. I'm not dependent on you, and you're not dependent on me. We're dependent on each other, and we also govern each other. So, somebody doesn't want to go there because you're not supposed to say anything. But Yah is moved by your actions and your thought process, your etymology. So, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth the way that it is inside in heaven. So give me today what I need. That's the manna that rains down. So give me the things that I need to eat and to be able to move in today. Once you do that, now forgive me of my debts. If you're in debt, you're a slave. If you're a slave, you're in debt. So now you can forgive me of my debts. And you'll only do it according to the people who have debt with me. I on the inside forgive them, and therefore on the outside have a manifestation of forgiveness, which means that now you on the inside can forgive me. And therefore now I'm in a position, now that I'm in the forgiving mode, now I can say, and lead me not into temptation. You will be tempted, but now don't lead me into temptation, but do what? But deliver us from evil. Why? Because now that I'm in position, I can deal with you with what's yours. What's yours is in me, for thine is the kingdom. And that means what is in me and the power. And that also means what's in me and his glory. His imprint is in me. And how long is it going to be there? Forever. And then we just simply agree with the statement. We're just simply confessing. And we agree with the confession by saying, amen. Right? That's etymology. Somebody taught you that etymology meant that you had to break down every single word in every single language. And this, no, that's eteos. I can tell you what a word truly means, but can you tell me the context of the culture of what it is? That's when we get into etymology. See, that's when we're getting into etymology. So somebody comes to me with an ideal, and they say, "Hey, Pastor Kofi, I read this. Can you tell me what you think?" And you know what? I don't tell you what I think, because that means that I'm giving you an ideal. It's not, I'm opining and I'm giving you something outside the culture. I need to tell you not what I think. I need to tell you what they thought when they put it into place. And so we have people having these weird discussions now about gender and don't even know that gender just means style. Right? How are you going to have a discussion about gender on either side of the aisle? Or if you're in the middle of the aisle, how do you have a discussion about gender and you're arguing sex and not understanding you should be arguing the style that is connected to the culture of what they say a male and a female is supposed to do. Right? That's what we're talking about. If you don't know the style of it. Okay, so for example, you might not be able to see it on on TikTok, right? But this is, getting ready to go to a funeral or whatever. And I make sure I don't normally wear black pants and stuff anymore, at least not black slacks and stuff like that anymore. But you can see I've got this for the funeral, right? Because I'm wearing this, right? But you can still see the style when I get ready to go. The style, right? This tunic is a style. It resonates. When you see me with this style on, you know that there's something that's going to be going on, right? You know that there's a certain style I'm coming in. When you see the hair that I have, you see there's a style that's called gender, right? But if you had the same person and I were to cut my hair and I were to wear the same pants, but I were to wear a dress shirt, have it tucked in. And by the way, dress shirts actually used to look like tunics because they were. So dress shirts used to just be long tunics that you would tuck in. It was just a different style. Now you don't buy. So some people still buy the dress shirts that go really, really far down. And then you make sure you put the shirt stays in them and stuff, and they look really nice. But you don't know that underneath the pants, it actually goes deeper. That's a word for somebody right there. You want to preach, that'll preach, right? You got the dress shirt, but if you knew what was going on underneath the pants, you would realize that the dress shirt that you see on the top is just nothing more than a result of the being pulled down. But that's a whole. That's somebody can use that. That'll preach, right? But it's talking about the style. It's a gender. See, this shirt, according to our culture, I wear it in a certain way because our gender, our style demands that I wear it. So when I show up even though I put on the slacks for somebody else, so that so I won't have to worry about this and that. And they can focus on this because they're already gonna be focused on hair. They're gonna be focused on belief, and I don't know if I'm gonna be asked to play or to preach or do something like that, or to speak on something or to read a scripture. I don't know, man. I'm just coming there to support family, you know. But nevertheless, whatever it is, I still gonna show up with something that says, "Hey, this is my style." This, in essence, is etymology. Because if you don't know that the only reason why you wear a tie, right? Etymology. Why? What is a tie? A tie used to tie used to be it represents a bandage that would be tied around somebody's neck if they had been cut in battle. You would tie a bandage. You would tie a bandage around somebody's neck and make sure it was tied. You had to put a knot there to make sure that it was tight enough so that that person's who had their throat cut or something like that would be able to survive. It's you're talking about somebody who's into wartime tactics, and so they wear their culture. They wear their tie. They wear their culture. That's what you're dealing in. If somebody's wearing their culture, they're wearing their tie. That's what that comes from. You don't know that somebody who's has we put cufflinks on now, and you got the cuffs. Well, the cuffs used to be frilly. It wasn't considered to be homosexual. It was something that was frilly in their culture. Right now, they had some homosexuality and stuff, but that wasn't why it was soft. It was frilly there because they would also use it as something, right? They would also be able to use it as something to either be able to blow their nose, or sometimes might even have some cocaine in there. Now, normally they would have the cocaine or stuff that they would sniff, or even something in their handkerchief, but they might have some cocaine down here, and they pull it out, they sniff it real quick, they put it back in, they tie it back together. Right? You're talking about culture. You're wearing culture and don't even recognize it. Right? That's etymology. When you get ready to go to a Chinese restaurant, you might see a fork and a spoon and a knife, but what else are you going to see? You're going to see some chopsticks. Why are you going to see some chopsticks there? Because it's wise in their domain to make sure that their culture shows up. So etymology, you're eating. You see, once again, how much of communication is verbal? Only 7% of communication is verbal. You have a conversation every day by what your eyes see. That's why any type of supremacy, it starts with what you see. See, you thought supremacy started when your baby could talk, or when your baby went to school. When your baby came out and saw everything around it came from a different culture, that was the beginning. Even when it could barely see, it could only see shapes, or it was very blurry. Everything around that baby said, this is somebody's culture. Whenever you go somewhere, right? We're the only people that are embarrassed to say, oh, this is our culture. Matter of fact, not all of us, but African Americans, or people who like to be called African Americans, they are probably the only people who are embarrassed to say this is ours. Right? Are afraid to put black owned on the side of a building because somebody's going to tell you that that's reverse racism. But you go to anybody else's culture, you go to an Italian restaurant, they have the menu in Italian sometimes, and will laugh at you when you stumble over the words, and will give you credit when you say the words correctly. Right? But they're going to serve you Italian. If it's authentic Italian, they're going to serve you Italian. Why are they going to serve you Italian? Because they're serving you culture. They're speaking to you in their culture, and they're not going to change the words for you just because you're trying to partake. If you want to partake in the culture. We're not going to change what it is, but you're more than welcome to participate in it. Only we say, oh yeah, that's not black culture, that's American culture. Excuse me, soul food is American culture? Now, I'm not saying we need to be eating soul food, right? But soul food and American culture, that's black culture. We have to figure out how to survive. You don't go to the pho restaurant, for those of you who eat pho, and if you haven't, it's great. P-H-O, pho, right? It's a Vietnamese delicacy. And pho started off same way like soul food did. Pho was, we need to figure out a way to survive. We broke out here. How are we going to survive? Well, you know what? We can heat up some water. We can make sure we put parts of meat in here so that we get a nice broth, and after that, we can take some leaves. We can make sure the leaves and things are put in there. We can have some vegetables and stuff. I mean, hey, all we got left is sinews and things like that, and some fat. We put all that stuff together, though. Man, you know what? This tastes pretty good. Now, all of a sudden, people buy it all around the world. And when you go to buy it all around the world, they don't say, oh, yeah, just, This is worldwide food. This is American food. No. This is Vietnam, right? When you sit here, we're gonna have a spoon that says Vietnam. We're gonna have chopsticks that say Vietnam. We're gonna bring our culture here, and you're going to eat our culture. When you eat our food, you eat our culture. And those of you who have had pho, if you have bad pho, you know it. Why? Because that's not the culture. What you'll say is, oh, they didn't cook that right. The broth wasn't right. The color of it wasn't right. They didn't use this type of hot sauce and stuff that they use. I don't even know the name of the hot sauce, but I know if you try to give me some hot sauce that's not theirs, I know it just from the sight of it because it looks a certain way. It's supposed to have a certain smell to it, has a certain aura to it, has a certain look to it, right? And they don't change the pronunciation of the word. They'll tell you can get number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Like when you go to the Chinese restaurant, they'll tell you in the pho restaurant, yeah, you can get number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. But they're not going to change the name to placate to you. If you can't say it, okay, fine. In your culture, we'll just let you get away with saying number 1. But we're not going to change the name. You change the name, you change the authority. You change the etymology. You change where it came from. Come on now, right? I remember the first church, I won't say the first church. No, actually, the first church I started regularly going to was a Baptist church, but it was a Filipino pastor. And there were some black guys, a couple black guys that were married in. One of the black guys actually helped me. I'm thankful to. His name Gary Sint. And, haven't seen him since basically he got out the military in probably 2002, like 2003-ish, 2004, somewhere in there. Haven't seen him since. But I praise y'all for him because he grabbed me at a time and basically grabbed me by the stuff of my neck and said, "You're coming to church." Right? So he started me down the path of at least getting back to the word. And I'm thankful for him. And but we would go there, and I don't even remember every word that was spoken. Matter of fact, I can't tell you a sermon. I can tell you how passionate they were. I can tell you that they loved me. I can tell you the love they have for one another. And I remember that was the first place I went to because I didn't grow up in the church. So I didn't get this in a black church. My first experience with being fed in church is not being fed in the black church. My first experience being fed in the church is being fed in a Filipino church. And they would have church all day. And you would show up really early. You would have rehearsals during the week. You would have to show the Bible study and everything. And all I did was really play. I didn't even really want to be there. I was just playing music. And my OG grabbed me up and said, "You gonna come?" So I wasn't even really concerned with all that. But you would show up, get on that in, and then they would feed you. And they had, it was my first introduction to lumpia. And lumpia, ever since then, if I go to any Filipino place, first thing I'm gonna order is some lumpia. I need to see if you know what you're doing, right? If I ever go to a Filipino restaurant, y'all ever get me anything from a Filipino restaurant and bless me with something when we come to town or something, I promise you, give me lumpia first. I don't even need the extra stuff to come in it, right? Give me the lumpia. If the lumpia is on point, whatever else they got is going to be on point. That's as far as I'm concerned, because that's my introduction into the culture. See, and so everything that I gauge now as far as eating in that culture, it's always going to be about that lumpia. It's got to be. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. I think I am. It's been a while, right? But I haven't had it in years and years and years. But till this day, like while I'm thinking about it, I'm salivating and I'm remembering the taste. What am I remembering? I remember the culture. What am I remember? I don't remember everybody's name, but I remember the faces of people. I remember the women who served us. I remember the women who slaved over. I remember the children who couldn't wait to be able to be served. I remember the pastor being excited because he saw his family. Literally, most of them were family, right, as a church. But he saw his family making sure that they were coming together. I remember saying to myself, wow, you know what? They had the two black men that were married in. They got these half black children that are from their families. And then they had this third black man, really young man, but third black man that's in there. And they ain't really saying much other than like, come on and get in. Right. And then to find out through them that, like the real Filipinos are the negritos, right, which are black people. And so therefore, like, and I'm not saying real, the original. How about we say that? And so it's like why would they have a problem with us? Right. But that's etymology. We think etymology is just a word. We think it's eteos. We think it's just the truth of a word. We think it's just the logic of a truth of a word, but it's etymology. It's etymos. It is the logic or the study of what a word comes out of contextually and culturally. So if you know the culture, you'll be somebody as far as etymology every time. Because some of the greatest minds on earth never consider the culture. They only look at it through theirs. We were listening to somebody, and I'm going to get ready to take our leave because we got to take a break before we get Minister Anais on here. So I'm probably not going to be on here any more than like 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there. More, and thank you everybody for being on. Because of where we're placed and stuff too, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to post all our information. If you're on the podcast, when the podcast reposts, you'll have the information to get in contact with us. You just look up any other podcast that's already posted. You'll be able to see our information there. If you're on YouTube, look in the description box. You'll see our information there. If you're on TikTok, just simply go to the page, look in the description, look in the bio, or look in the website. Click on the link tree there, and then you'll be able to see all the different places you can come and find out more information. We'll be live on for Shabbat Shalom podcast, or some of you have even started calling it our Shabbat Shalom service. We'll be on at 10 a.m. Eastern New York time on the podcast only. And thank you everybody who will join us there. Right. So with the lumpia and with all these things, right, the etymology is the entirety of the culture. It's not a part of the culture, it's the entirety of the culture. You are missing part of who you are because you don't have the entirety of the culture, or at least you don't have any of the culture. Right? You can't talk about in the name of and not know that even the word name means Shem. Can I just give you some simple stuff as we get ready to close? Holy Spirit, help me bring things back to my remembrance that need to be brought back as we get ready to take our leave. Right? You can't talk about the name or the authority of something and you don't even know that the word name is Shem. So anytime somebody tries to call you anti-Shemitic, what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that you're against the authority of the Most High. So you got to figure out who Shem is, or else you won't know where his authority lies. And if you realize you're Shem or Sham, and that means that you are named, which means you are authority, which means you have to be given authority, then you realize that somebody can't tell you you're anti-authority if you take authority, if you take it on. Right? The Most High gives it, but once he gives it, you have the right to leave it in his hand or take it, because many are called, invited to take it, but few are chosen. Few will actually take it out of his hand and take it on. If I've taken on the authority of the Most High, in keeping his culture, his commandments, his will, his way, then I can't be anti-Shemitic. It's impossible. It's implausible. It's incredulous that you would even dare to dream to try and dictate to me in my life or my family's life that we would be there. It is impossible. It is impossible. However, the only reason it becomes possible is because you don't recognize that somebody else is telling you that what is impossible is actually a possibility. If you comprehend that laws don't give rights, but laws protect rights, every time somebody talks about law and demeans it, well, then guess what? They're the least in the kingdom. That's etymology. Now somebody says, "Oh, see, I don't agree with that." Here goes somebody trying to get us in the law. You know, Romans chapter 10, verse 4, it says, "I'm not even about the law," and this and that or whatever. You miss the context of it, because Romans is the Christology. So if you want to talk about the law and the study of Christ, the ology, the logic of Christ, the logic of the Anointed One, Romans is the Christology. Let's go ahead and look at what the Christ said. And in our sweet spot, Matthew chapter 5, verses 17 through 20. This is the study of the one who you're trying to talk about, right? This is the study of the one that you're telling me doesn't want me to know about the law that protects my rights, the law that he had to make sure that he was governed by and that he made sure was fulfilled. It doesn't mean he completed it. It means it was fulfilled. He fully filled it, and he filled it to full. He wasn't half there, half not. It doesn't mean that nobody else had to do it. Nevertheless, though, the one who fulfilled the law, right? And we're talking about the Christology, the logic or the study of the Christ, the Anointed One. Well, let's look at what he said. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. That's why we always bring this stuff up. Can you see why we're super repetitive? You got to get this etymology in your brain, right? Get this etymology in your brain. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. He says clearly in verse 17, he says, think not that I've come to overthrow the government by destroying the law, right? But I've come that the law would be what? Fulfilled. Verse 18, he says, you shouldn't change one jot, the most minuscule of measurements, nor should you change one tittle. Tittle is yod in the Hebrew. It actually means the way it was written, the hand of Yah upon it. You shouldn't even change the yod, the way it was written originally, initially. Verse 19, he says, anyone who out here who teaches that you should not, that does not live by the law, and then teaches that you should not live by the law, is considered to be the least in the kingdom. But then he says, anyone who lives by it and teaches that you should live by it, then you are considered to be the greatest in the kingdom. Verse 20 comes behind that, and he says, you better know the law greater than the scribes and the Pharisees. Now, that's etymology. That's how you should deem it. That's how you should consider it. And if you have it, you should redeem it. You should reconsider it. And you should reconsider it according to the standards of the Most High, the one who wrote it. Why go against the Most High? How can you, it's cognitive dissonance to go against what the Most High says and then at the same time say that you support who the Most High is. That's cognitive dissonance. That being said, though, I got to be obedient. Thank you to everybody. We have more people coming on as we're going on, but we normally are shorter on Shabbat because we get ready for Shabbat Shalom on the podcast. So once again, if you want to be part of the podcast, if you're on TikTok or if you're on YouTube or if you're on the podcast, actually, if you're on the podcast, just come back at 10 a.m. Eastern New York time. If you're on YouTube, just look up what you need to do to get us on the Podbean app. If you don't have it set up already, just set up an account on the Podbean app or online, and then just tune in at 10 a.m. Eastern New York time. If you're on TikTok, just look in the bio. It's right in the description, probably in the link tree as well, if you want to look at the website area there as well. Thank you all so much, though. These are the 12 pillars of wisdom. The 12 pillars of wisdom. Remember, wisdom is a domain that has to hold something wise inside of it, just like a kingdom is a domain that has to be worthy of a king, right? Or a queendom is a domain that has to be worthy of a queen. And if you're going to therefore have a wise domain, the 12 pillars that will hold it up, the 12 pillars of wisdom so far, pillar number 1 was you have to systematically and systemically put something in place. Pillar number 2, you have to be knowledgeable. Pillar number 3, you must be a game changer. Pillar number 4, you must make sure that you are somebody who is redeemed, reconsidered, and therefore you have to consider how do you deem it. Pillar number 5, you have to be somebody who has vision, purpose, and value so that you can get to what we discussed today, pillar number 6, etymology. Tomorrow, we will get into, at least I believe, we'll see how tomorrow goes. Because we might try to have Minister Tamara on if I can get my technology together. As you can see, today has been an experience in that. Prayerfully, some will have something that can help me to get things in order. Nevertheless, tomorrow, prayerfully, at least, we'll see how things work out. But whenever we go through the next phase of this, we're going to talk about eschatology. That'll be the 7th pillar, eschatology. If you're not aware of what eschatology is the study of the end times. So if you're living in the end times and you're going to have a domain that's wise, you got to know how the end times work. So we're going to talk about the logic or the study of eschatology, the end times. At least that's the common definition. So thank you for being on today. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much. Don't forget, tomorrow, March 6th, getting 11 out the home. If we don't have it exactly tomorrow, we are working on a list where we're going to be able to email it to everybody, try and put a list on YouTube, try and make sure that we have it in a couple different places as well. We're working on recipes, working on a lot of different things. And we're trying to calm some people down because some of y'all did this with the last year. So, just calm down some. Some people are doing this for the first time though, but everybody seems to be very anxious about Passover and stuff this year. So we'll make sure, obviously, as we get closer, Passover is April 15th. We'll make sure we have a lot of things in place to make sure that you guys are aware of how this is going to work. We're going to have some great festivities leading up to Passover, and we're excited about that as well. So thank you all. We appreciate you again. I got to take my leave. Please come on to the Shabbat Shalom podcast, the Shabbat Shalom service, where we're going to make sure that we listen to Minister Anais, who's ready to give us a mighty and majestic word. Matter of fact, Minister Anais, we pray right now that no matter what the enemy is trying to do to you, we know that you have a word that's in store that's so great that not only will it supersede it in the moment, but it will break the chains and the yoke off of things that are he's trying to do against you and against your purpose. He can only do those things because he knows, or he's only trying to do those things because he knows what you bring with the kingdom. It is against the kingdom of darkness. So we're thankful and grateful for you, and we lift you up in that word in the mighty and master's name of Jehovah. We pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect your message. Amen. All right, thank you, everybody. Please check out my wife, Bloom and Flourish. You can check her on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest is not Bloom and Flourish, but the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. You can follow, and she's a healer, herbalist, chemist, biologist by degree, and she has tinctures and many different things she uses to heal. The tincture of the month is Please make sure that you take time out not only to be a hearer of this word, but a doer of it as well. So study it so that you can execute what you've heard and see if what I'm saying is correct. You might find out that I'm a lie, but how do you know if you don't study? Right? So we're thankful. We're grateful. We appreciate you. We honor you as always. This has been Pastor Kofi, Pastor of Servant to Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken until we have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again. Please remember, as always, that you are loved, you're necessary, you're majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made in you, which is all of us working together will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. After the podcast, weekly meeting, then at 3, YLP 83 meeting. I'll be coming around at a funeral, so it will probably be somewhat brief, but I'll try to open it up for as much questions, comments, and concerns that my mind is able to take at that moment in time. Y'all just going to have to, be a little empathetic today. And then those who have cryptocurrency will be back at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time on Zoom. Outside of that, we'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern New York time. Much love and respect to everybody. Thank you. Peace.